Hey, what is up, everyone? It's Rich. All right, welcome to Super Fun Sunday. We are going to knock one out this week, and I picked a very special book. So this is the gallery edition of Weapon X, and man, this is going to be really exciting. So what I did, because we have looked at the Barry Windsor Smith Weapon X stuff a couple of times on my channel. If you search Barry Windsor Smith, I've probably got 6 or 7 videos on him. But we're going to start a little later in the book. Generally speaking, my guess would be that I start sort of at the front end of the book and work our way through. But there's some really nice bonus pieces in this gallery edition. So highly recommend people pick this up. I've ordered my copy of it, hard copy. I like to have the real books. There's something fun about sitting down at night when you're all done with your work and just enjoying a good book. I don't get the same experience looking at it on the computer for some reason. There's a romance to the books. But what was I going to say? So there are spoilers. If you've never read the story, you may want to wait a little bit to watch the video. And then too, I did kind of pick around a little bit, meaning that although there are blocks of story, what I tried to do is leave some stuff out so that even if you are like, I'm okay with spoilers, I think that I left out some stuff. So, but I would say that this is a spoiler filled video. So this is the cover. It looks great. I mean, for anyone that has ever collected back issues or has comic books in their collection, there's a different look to digital files to when you see it on paper, and even paper has its own characteristics. Newsprint has a different vibe, takes color and ink differently than these slick reproductions, and even Marvel when they reprint stuff, depending on things like that. I mean, it can really give the book a different vibe, and if you're used to one version of it, it sometimes can look less than. But what I noticed just glancing, I didn't see very many of these files when I was opening it, to be clear. So this is the first time I've looked at this version of the book. These files look great, and I'm excited to see how it translates. So in the back of the book, they have some original art, which I thought we would start with because everybody likes to see original art, and it is really, really interesting to just kind of see it on the board, see how the ink sits, and see kind of a raw version of it. Barry generally will do his underdrawings in blue pencil. When I say generally, that's a very broad sort of sweeping assessment of his work, but I've definitely seen, at least in the middle of his career, I don't know if his earliest stuff had it, but he did tend to use blue pencil at times. So it's interesting. I love sketching with blue pencil. I don't really find it works for me when I'm trying to work on a finished piece. It's a little waxy. I find it starts to get a little confusing, and I'm chasing kind of shadows in the dark with the blue lines. I need a darker line down, for me to be able to see what I'm going for. But this is really cool, and it is funny because Barry is very, very influential, as we've seen just even in the last week with the Marvel UK books. I think at least 2 of the artists definitely had a Barry Windsor Smith kind of vibe. But that was the time period. This stuff came out in the late 80s, early 90s, and this to me looks very much like stuff that Jim Lee would have done after this. Jim definitely was pulling from Barry Windsor Smith, and if you ever seen Jim ink himself around this time, I mean, he was definitely going for some of these isms. So pretty cool. Look at this. Again, you can see the blue pencil under it. I had someone in a Patreon video recently ask me, and this page doesn't have it, but sometimes on Marvel pages you'll see little circle stickers with X's. That's so that they can format the book when they photograph it. They need it lined up a certain way. I said that it deals with lettering, but I really think it's more of when they're shooting the page. But nowadays, and that's what these lines are for. You can match stuff up, but if you, well, you can't really see it on this one. DC paper will have three squares that the art sits in, and one is full bleed, one is for your panel borders, and then one is for double page spreads. But let's look at the art and enjoy that. Enough inside baseball. I would think that it would be possible, not necessarily to do an artist edition. So there's people get a little confused by, I think, the title. So artist edition is something that's trademarked by IDW, but it's a specific kind of book. It's art shot from the original art. It was an idea that Scott Doombeer had, and they're very popular books. In fact, I just ordered the McFarlane Spider-Man one, so I will be doing a review of that when it arrives. So they have two different versions. They have artisan and artist. Artist edition, if I'm not mistaken, means that they've been able to acquire the full stories. But I think that they could do an artisan edition of Weapon X, meaning that they probably couldn't track down every single page from the book. But I think that they could get enough Barry Windsor Smith art together from this and then some supplemental material and do a really, really kick-ass Barry Windsor Smith collected artist edition style book. This is really cool. I haven't seen a ton of this art in black and white, so this is a nice treat for me. There is a little bit that's sold in auctions, so you can definitely track down some, but a pretty casual look to this page, to be honest. This looks like a guy that like sat down, sketched something out, and then went in and inked it pretty matter-of-factly. You know, this doesn't look super planned out. What I mean by that is like there's more of an immediacy to this. You can never tell how long the layout took to actually like concept the placement of figures, but something like this might go pretty fast for Barry. Someone had thought that there was something. Oh, was that I had shown there was the single slice of that Barry Windsor Smith piece, and someone in the comments section said that they thought that he could have done a piece like that in 6 hours. I didn't want to reply and say that there's no way in hell that piece was done in 6 hours, but I really highly doubt that piece was done in 6 hours. Just to pencil it or ink it would take longer than that. I mean, I've done thousands of pages in my career. I definitely know what I'm talking about, and just the amount of time that it takes to put down that many lines, even if you're flying, is way off the grid. You know, so my professional experience says there's no way that piece took that short amount of time. It may be in this book. I don't know. We'll see. I didn't see the original art, but this is really cool. And he does a really interesting thing too, because I'm very into texture with my line work. And in fact, I'll plug myself really quick while we're here. So a lot of you don't know that I draw, that I'm a professional artist. I'm not just like a YouTuber that talks about like comic book art. I've been a professional comic book artist for a long time. I'm doing some really probably the best work of my career right now. And if you're a fan of things like Barry Windsor Smith, Bernie Wrightson, you know, like any of that kind of stuff, you should definitely head over to my Instagram and check it out, because you probably would like what I'm doing. And anyway, I've been really fortunate. Just in the last couple of months, I've had thousands of new people follow me as I've been posting more and more of my work and getting a lot of really kind compliments from other professionals, and it means a lot to me. So I want to say thank you, and then we can move through into this now. So what I was going to say is, what's interesting is, so because of how fine line my stuff is, I get real particular about how I'm going to render different materials, and it probably comes from my fascination with digital art. But you it's like you can't use the airbrush tool on everything, or everything starts to look like it's been shined in oil. And so with Barry's rendering on this in particular, caught my eye right away. He does actually ink the tech just like arm hair. Do you see, like, look at this area right up here? Do you see how this isn't really that different than how he's been doing the hair on the arms or stuff like this, and even here? But it does actually work for him. What I would do in an area like this is I would try to come up with a different approach to the line that will let hair look like hair, and then metal or glass look like that. And it's hard. It's really complicated. I just have to make things up and try things until I find textures in pen and ink that create these illusions. But it's just kind of my thing. But I mean, this stuff is great. But yeah, it's interesting how he uses more similar line approach to any texture, but still makes it work. How you can separate technology from organic material is definitely like if you have more hard lines, like these are hard lines where most of his lines on figures are very fluid and they're very, I'm using a mouse, but he does a lot of this kind of stuff. Oh, hold on. Like S curves. So you see a lot of this, but straight lines will definitely make something jump out as being made more from man-made helps, This is so cool. Man, this figure drawing is so badass. Man, this is so good. I was looking at some Jeffrey Catherine Jones last night after I got done working. I pulled out, I have a hardcover of, I guess it's the Fenner book. Really, really good. Man, he's so good. I only looked at like 3 pages. I'm not kidding when I say I go slow through the books. So, yeah, I think it was a double page spread, the opening image, and then one more, and that was it. But that was like 45 minutes. I just kind of stare at it, and I try to like see. I don't even know. I don't know what I'm looking for. I tend to look for planes on things now. Is one thing that I definitely look at. Is I'm looking for edges and how form is indicated by either pencil shading, line work, or the overlapping of overlapping of things, like how lines intersect can show you what's in front of something or behind it. This is cool. I haven't read the story in a long, long time, so this book is going to be a good excuse to actually go through and read this. But I have read it a couple of times. It's been, man, a long time. You can see that blue pencil. Barry said, I've seen a quote where he said that he liked the blue pencil because it kind of gave a little bit of life to the black and white drawings too. Although you wouldn't see it in any kind of book, but it gave like a little bit of a almost like blood flow under the line, if that makes sense. Vascularity. This is such a great piece. I think these are the back of Marvel Comics Presents. Well, I mean, obviously the book was originally printed in Marvel Comics Presents, but some of the, I'm not saying that this image in particular, but a few of them are back covers too. Because I remember I have a few that are like just like in comic book bags. He's really good at this stuff. My mouse has got a little lag. I think I'm downloading a video. Yeah, like this. I'll actually plug this too for anyone that's a fan of Roger Dean. Oh, see, dude, okay, this is so crazy. Let me tell you the story because this actually all ties in. So Roger Dean produced this studio book. Roger Dean is a really famous, we'll call him a commercial illustrator, but he designed the album covers for like Yes and Asia and Matthew Sweet and all these bands and stuff like that. And so I was listening to an interview with Bernie Wrightson, and then I went into this sort of was a video where it was a tribute to Jeffrey Catherine Jones. So I was enjoying, but this is on my computer. I wasn't online. I was doing this just on my desktop, yeah. And so I was sitting down and I was reading the Jeffrey Catherine Jones book, and I went on YouTube, and for whatever reason, I ended up searching for Roger Dean, and Roger Dean has got a YouTube channel. So if you're a fan of Roger Dean, you might want to check it out. It's pretty cool. Anyway, but yeah, so the studio book has Barry Windsor Smith, Jeffrey Catherine Jones, Michael Kaluta, and Bernie Wrightson. So you had 4 power-packed artists all at one studio, rocking the mic. What does it say up there? Look at his screen. Oh, looks at the screen. Oh, right. Man, he's jacked up. Aaron Weisenfeld had a guy, a sort of evil doctor guy in Team 7 that kind of looked like this. I mean, Aaron definitely was influenced. And in fact, I think Aaron was the one that really got me into Barry Windsor Smith, to be honest, because we were friends back then. And then he had shown me some kind of like not the more popular X-Men issues that Barry Windsor Smith had done, but some really interesting ones. And then from there, I kind of took off. God, this is great. What a killer drawing. I really like how round his anatomy is. I mean, he has a very, like, Renaissance-y sort of approach to anatomy. I'm kind of more of a Bridgman approach, more blocky cylinders and stuff like that. But this is cool shit. I was getting confused because there's a guitarist I follow named Michelangelo Badio. And I was like, it's kind of like Michelangelo pre-Raphael. I know because I know he's a fan of that Windsor Smith. But when I was saying it, I was like, wait, is that his name? I was second guessing it because of the guitarist. It's crazy. We've still got the comic to look at. This is just the warm up. This is at the back of the book, to be clear. But what a nice addition to the book, you know, and it's oversized too. So I'm really curious to see how big it is. I'm kind of guessing it's like what do they call them? Absolute, like an absolute edition. Wildstorm would do them for like the Authority and books like that. You went in with some pretty heavy duty white right here. Oh, it's such a scary thing to do that. He must have had the piece like, well, God, he did it up here too, man. Yeah, he was trucking. That's unusual for Barry to white so much stuff out. Could have been a correction. He may have had stuff drawn and the editor went like, you know, I kind of don't think so though. Because he's fixing an anatomical stuff too. Unless he had more pipes on him. Maybe, just based on where the corrections are, it doesn't make total sense. It would just be like his hair was drawn wrong. Because it's not consistent. Why would he work on like the abdomen right here and the arm right here? So, and even this guy. Huh. Really interesting. I'll be curious. I don't even know if he would remember what actually happened, but maybe he would. Kind of like the look of these scans. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh yeah, the colors on this. I always actually really did like the colors on this, to be honest. You know, it's interesting too seeing this. Man, like, could you imagine? Like, I mean, he could have done a series of these pen and ink pieces with a very light, like, watercolor application. I know he did color pieces, but man, those would be beautiful. Just like where you could see the pen and ink so clear like this, but then also had the color. Oh my God, it would be awesome. He draws some really cool trees. This is such a good piece. Oh, okay. So I know what I did. These are like little bonus covers and pieces and stuff like that in the back, like cover gallery area. Oh man, it's so cool. This girl must be really small because he's really big right here. Considering I always picture Wolverine like 5'2". Maybe he's a little taller, but you know what I mean. Man, it's kick-ass. God, that figure. I need to soak it in. Let's do this. Okay, he really pushes the form out. Like this is so, this right here is so like in front of the body. Because like, you know, you block in a chest. Again, I'm doing this with a mouse, so excuse my wonkiness. But he's got like, but this has got such great form. That's what I'm tripping on, is how much volume this has right here. Is just crazy. Oh, that's really cool. It's like, it's amazing what you can do on a sheet of paper and create so much depth. This is really it's trippy colors. It looks cool, but man, it'd be tough to let that go. It looks like flats to me now. You know what I mean? Like, as just an observer in 2022, you'd go, okay, flats are done. Now you need to go in and get into the minutia. Maybe not. Maybe not, friends. It's cool. You can see the line work good. This comic is really valuable, if I'm not mistaken. I have it, but I remember I couldn't find it, and I was like freaking out because I think it was one of the more expensive back issues of this run. I was like, ah, shit, I know I freaking have that book, and then I found it, and I was like, whew. Not that I would sell them. That's the funny thing, is you get all worked up about like an expensive book in your collection, and then you're like, I wouldn't really get rid of it anyway. So it's, at that point, it almost becomes valueless, other than the fact that you don't have to worry about buying it. I always like this. I like that it's not finished, I guess you could say, and I like the you know, this all day. That would be my comment. This all day. It's really good. His line is so crazy. I've never really known what kind of pen he and Jeffrey Catherine Jones used to ink this stuff. If anyone knows, let me know if you know what pen it would be, because I really don't know. But they get a very interesting line. It's very waggly, like it looks like you could sketch in a lot of different directions. Some pen nibs will flick. They'll catch the paper and sort of spit if you turn them the wrong way. I mean, it depends on how you hold it. If you hold it at an angle, you can get more angles out of the pen. But see, and his hair is shorter here. I did notice that that like he went from super lush like rocker hair to like the more short hair. So I don't know if maybe there was a hair issue on that one page. This is good shit. Some really, really good art coming out at this time. I wanted to see her face from this angle. But like Frank Miller Ronan, you know what I mean? Like, just is like European sensibilities were really starting to appear in American comics. And just to be clear too, if you watch the Claudio Castellini video, I know that Claudio is not from America. What I meant is American published comics. I got out full. So I know Barry's an Englishman, but I just mean that comics that were published in America that start to have European sensibilities more than 70s Marvel did, you know. From what I understood too, I heard this years and years ago. It's amazing how I retain this information, not this specific tidbit, but there's weird things that I must have picked up on and didn't realize it, and then I'll go back to something that I haven't seen like 25 years, and I'll go, I wonder if that's where I got that from. Like, I'll hear someone say something, and I'll go, interesting. I wonder if I picked that up and didn't even realize it. But artists like John Buscema were not a fan of how detailed these guys drew. I kind of joked about it in a video yesterday, I think, but it was the Claudio Castellini video. But I mean, they really did see them as a threat, because these guys were dudes that were working commercial jobs and trying to get shit done, and had done years of ground and pound comic books, meaning that you know, they dealt with every deadline under the sun, 5 pages a day, whatever it is. Yeah, you had these artists coming in that were becoming superstars, and they, you know, were doing like 1 page a week, or you know what I mean, and the old school guys were probably thinking, well, you can't make a living like that. I need to make a living. If this is the new hot shit, it's like, I can't do 1 page a week. It's not going to look that much, you know, different, really. I can't afford to pay bills and make it through that. What ends up happening, though, is if you do very detailed work. I had said this to Lee Bermejo, because I knew Lee was heading that direction early in his career. I'm not saying that I gave him any kind of like profound advice, but I did tell him, I said, look, I go, this stuff will take you longer, but ultimately your original art will be worth so much money that you'll make it up on the back end. And that's kind of how I look at it too. If I spend 3 or 4 days on a piece, I know that it's more valuable than you know, other things, just because of the fact that you put a lot of care in it, and if you get to a high level of skill, those two things together just equal very valuable art. There's just, it's just a fact. It's, you know, it's not debatable. Good and detailed and popularity will all be very beneficial to you. So it's tough. Comics is a tough business, and comics is a lot of work. Just even doing stuff like this is a lot of work. You know, this is wild. Man, there's a lot of stuff going on right here. It's almost indiscernible, but still is discernible. I think the colors don't help it because he's clearly got. I mean, you can see what's going on here. This is his shoulder blade sits in here, and then this is his arm. But the colors, because the colors spill over this plane, it kind of messes things up, to be honest. This makes it confusing, all of this right in here. It lacks separation. Man, this is a lot of muscles. This is great. Really, really tough shot. Looks like Frazetta when he was in his 50s. Frank could have played Wolverine at many different times in his life. He pretty much was Wolverine. You talking to me, bub? Bam! Knock your ass out. You know what we can do? These pages are great to turn black and white. This won't be the most exciting one in the world, but when stuff is colored like this, you can pretty much turn every page into a black and white page. Pro tip. I'll show you what I did in 1 second. But if you ever want to make like a black and white copy, like these pristine Marvel books are super easy to do it too. So for people that don't know how to do it, they're like, what the fuck magic is this shit that you just did? So this is what I do is I'll turn the page grayscale. It has to be this really slick color where it's like super flat color. But when they reprint Marvel books, and their digital files, if it does look like this and it's not airbrushed over the line art, I turn it gray, and then I go Control L, which is levels, and then I grab the far right eyedropper, and anything that you touch now is going to turn white. If I touch the black, it will turn white. I need to leave it up. But what I generally will do is I'll start with a medium gray. I don't always go the darkest. You could on this, just because it's so... I can tell just by looking at it, but like I could take like a light gray and remove that. It'll remove any value that you touch, literally down to the pixel, if I'm not mistaken. But these are like super flat grays, but yeah, you can pull it all out. So I've done it with books, you know, made myself little like fake artist editions of it. You know, I rarely go back and look at them, but still it is possible to do, but it has to be colored this way. So there you go. You got a little top secret tip from your buddy Rich. I figured that out on my own. I mean, I don't see other people doing it in videos, but you will now. When they do it, tell them, go, I know where you got that. You got that from Rich. But yeah, I don't know. I don't remember how I figured it out, but at some point I just started doing it, and I was like, ooh. Okay, that's cool. I'm sure colorists would know, would probably realize that they could do it. I'm sure most don't do YouTube though. That's really cool. Now I'm like, oh, I kind of want to see all these pages in black and white. Let's do one more. This is a good one, so it's worth doing it. All right. See, isn't my super fun Sundays fun? I'm the best. I'm your best friend. All right. Settle down, Rich. You're out of control. Actually, I'm going to take a sip of coffee while we look at this. Nom, nom, nom. You know what? Speaking of black and white art, because I've announced it on social media. So I'm moving forward with Blaster Kid, and what we're going to do is my initial launch of the book is going to be black and white, and I'm looking into doing it an oversized version of it, meaning that if you have the Intron Depot 2 book, it's about the size. It was funny because I was like, someone said maybe it could be oversized, and I started thinking about it. So Intron Depot is about 13 inches by maybe 9, something like that. I'm just eyeballing it, but it looks, yeah, maybe 13 by 9. But Yeah, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a color cover, color back cover. We'll have a few pages of color work bleeding into the main part of the story, and then a few color pages on the out. And the rest of the interior art will be black and white because people really wanted a black and white version of the book anyway. And then when Kelsey has time, if he wants to do it, he can color the book at his leisure, and then I'll in a next campaign I can have a color option for number one. So my intentions have always been to have the book color. I black and white was something I knew would happen, but I need to get the book out. I need to get the store going. I have, I want to do 25 years worth of Blaster Kid. I cannot wait any longer. So I'm moving forward and we're getting the book out. I look at it as like an Akira thing. Akira came out initially in black and white. It was colored later. Some people like one or the other better, and they're both there for you to enjoy. So I'll get my cake and eat it too, but I need to have the comic book out because I want the story in your hands. I want you to fall in love with the characters, the world, and start telling stories. So that will make it real for me and not just sitting at home drawing stuff. This is funny. Whenever I see this, it always reminds me of McFarlane and the opening page of the that one Spider-Man story. And it would be funny to see which came first. They're not the same exact shot, but man, they got a similar vibe. But this is beautiful. I love this. What a great page. And that's kind of the magic of comics, though. This is a really beautiful page. It actually is, like, I'm as excited about this, if not slightly more, than a lot of the other stuff that we've seen. There's not one superhero on it, or like in costume. But this is a really fun, beautiful piece. Good stuff. Ooh, I'm working on a Halloween piece too. You guys are gonna love it. Seriously, when I finish this thing, it's gonna go bananas online. I'm predicting it up front. It could be one of the coolest pieces I've ever done. Now the trick is to not mess it up while I'm drawing it. I'll probably post it on Patreon. I've been showing previews on Patreon, but I'll probably show the final on Patreon a few days before I release it online, because I do want to sort of release it around Halloween, but Halloween's so far away. I'll have it done in a few days. This is a great page. I want every page black and white now. Let's do it. Control. I have shortcuts for all these, but I could set up... Well, no, you really couldn't set up actions because you have to particularly select the gray. A little more gray. I'm a perfectionist. It's all the gray must be removed. Well, this is a nice treat for me to look at this on a Sunday. I can't think of a better way to start off my Sunday other than a fist fight with a football team. No. I always like this. Man, it's so cool. Her fingers are awesome. I'm a big fan of drawing long, creepy fingers. I haven't really had an opportunity to do it in a while, but someone will have long, creepy fingers soon enough. Or actually, I guess I kind of have. I lied. I'm wrong. In fact, I'm really wrong because I've done it a few times. It's so normal to me. I don't even remember it. This is super sexy Wolverine. Danzig Wolverine. Dr. Cornelius. Dr. Zeus. Ooh, ah, ooh, ga, ah, ooh. It's funny, that's the first time that I've really noticed the lettering on this book. And when I saw this, like, looked fine, didn't bother me, but I immediately went to the word balloons and started checking out the font that they're using, which is nice, looks good. Yeah, that's kind of one thing that I'm milling over right now is the lettering for Blaster Kid too. Important to have cool lettering, something that works. I think lettering is best when it isn't noticeable. Man, these Wolverines are so good. This, and this is so badass. God dang. Man, that is a great drawing. This would be tricky. Goodness gracious, he's so good. that is rough. It's so crazy how he'll cut loose. Like this chain link fence is wild style. Look at this down here. He's like, no fucks were given on those lines, and even this. Getting pretty heavy handed. Guy's a savage. Well, even the rendering on Wolverine gets very big. It's a great little pose though. Man, it's awesome. But like that's some chunky rendering. But it works, you know, it reads well. So he's got the eye. Naked Wolverine. He's like, do you like what you see? He's like, yes, sir. Wolverine's at it again. He's like, I know. It reminds me of, I don't know if you've seen, they occasionally will pop up on YouTube, but it's a guy that like he'll go up to people, strangers. I don't know if they're real videos or not, but he'll go up to some pretty tough looking people like on the street, and he starts a fight with them, and then he pulls off all of his clothes and he's naked and starts chasing them. They almost always run away. I think that's right. But yeah, like apparently once you're naked, people just like, no matter how much of a badass you are, you don't want the naked person near you. It's like some sort of weird human defense thing. These are nice. It's funny because like I was imagining like if I had to draw something like this, I really try to never ever have any kind of art books out when I draw, and pretty much I don't. I would say almost never. But man, if you had to draw like a Wolverine type character fighting some sort of panther or whatever this thing is, it's like it would be hard not to pull out Frazetta and just get an idea of how Frank would handle stuff like this, or I guess you could refer to this. But yeah, it is funny because you're like, okay, I got a naked guy fighting a panther. It's like, Frazetta dominated that field, so it would. I think you almost would have to, especially if you've never drawn it before. And that is an important distinction to make, is if you've never drawn anything before, use reference, or if you need it, use it. People get confused when I say stuff like that. I'm not saying don't use reference. I'm just saying that, like, give it a shot on your own. In particular, if you've drawn something like it before. Man, this animal is muscular. He did such a good job on that. He really tensed up the muscles. Man, that is so cool. Like right in the hips right here is just killer. I would say too, you know, like these artists were not, we're a little spoiled now, because there's, you know, in a 3 seconds you can pull up all kinds of panther reference. You know, you could go on YouTube and probably find a video of a panther, you know, playing and, you know, with a ball or whatever, and really see how their body moves and stuff like that. These guys would have to go to like the library, or I guess maybe take a camera and take photos of like a videotape. Pain in the ass. Yeah, I'm sure they were like, they probably had all kinds. They used to, I think, call them morgue files. Just means like collections of reference, where you'd be like, you know, if your uncle collected National Geographics, you would want all those, or Guns and Ammo, or whatever, you know, and you just save all those things, cut them apart if you want to do that way, and then just have like your animal reference folder, your gun reference folder, pretty girls in leather jackets folder, whatever. Okay, there shouldn't be too many more. I kind of know not to overdo it, but this is nice. Let's see this in black and white. I just appreciate the fact that it's... Oh, wait, sorry. Grab this gray. And then I'll grab the other gray. I'm curious to see. Just because there's so little detail on it, I wanted to see what it looks like in black and white. Wow, really interesting. It's pretty cool, right? Kind of got like a little bit of a Mobius. So you strip stuff down that simple have a little bit of outline, a little bit of rendering. It almost inevitably will look like something Mobius-like, which is really fascinating because I do think about that sometimes because it's, you know, like, you know, most artists I think ultimately want to have their own sort of voice. But yeah, it's interesting how just certain techniques just immediately will bring to mind someone else. It's incredible how powerful that connection is. This is all really nice, man. Always impressed by people that can do good walking away and running away poses because they can be pretty challenging. It's definitely its own little troublemaking thing. Wow, look at this. How many people are gonna make black and white comic books tonight on their computer? Again, you gotta have this flat color though. It doesn't work with the airbrushy stuff. Like a Top Cow book won't do it as good. In fact, it can sometimes not really work at all. You'll be able to get some of it out, but you'll see what I mean if you give it a shot. This stuff is perfect for it though. Ripe for the picking. This is really cool. Let's do this one with grayscale. Kind of been really interested in adding more shadows and like things like faces in black, like this right here, this kind of stuff. So it's kind of cool to see how you do it. So I like I like the look of when characters are half in black and half out, or like this idea where you've got like the back leg usually will be blacked out. Mignola does it. A bunch of people use it as a technique, but it looks really cool and it definitely is efficient. But more importantly, it looks cool. Oh man, that's great hands. Damn, that is so cool. Like for something like this, if you've never done it before, you definitely would need reference because it's to crop fingers like this and actually have like these little like where you're just seeing parts of the fingers. Man, the angle of the finger is so important, or it'll read weird because your fingers kind of rotate, like each one rotates away from the other, and then there's two rotate in. But yeah, if you don't get the angle right, it'll just look bizarre. What's tough too is you can get the silhouette right, but if you don't render the actual planes of the finger, it will look wrong. The silhouette's not hard to get. It's any kind of detail you put on it will make it read wrong. This is really good. Damn. Great knuckles. I've seen some Barry Windsor Smith stuff in person. I talked about that. I've seen some of the Bernie Wrightson Frankenstein plates in person, but that same auction house at Comic-Con had some really, really nice Barry Windsor Smith stuff, like the high-end stuff. Oh my god, it was crazy. Oh, it's so good. Jim was way into this. Oops, sorry, did something wrong. Let me turn this to gray. But Jim definitely was using this in his faces and stuff like that. Let's see. So that's like classic Jim Lee rendering right there. That could be Condition Red, Wolverine, man, Warblade, you name it. Oh, it's so cool. Oh, I love this. What a great panel. Well, let's see. Ah, it's so good. That's nice too. You guys gonna be taking a dirt nap. Nighty night, bad guys. Oh, sorry. It's gonna be super fun. I should have done that in the intro. Oh man, naked Wolverine going down the stairs. That was a great shot. Hold on, great. Now I'm into this. I kind of liked it a little better in color. Funny enough, I mean it's nice in black and white, but actually, the color kind of made it read. I think in black and white, if there was a little bit of darkness over here, would have pushed Wolverine forward. So the values of this stuff actually do kind of help, like the hallway go further back and stuff like that. Oh, you know, that could have been actually a trick too. Is he like, again, he wasn't drawing for I gotta do it. He wasn't drawing for black and white, but if you were doing it in black and white, let me grab this. This area in here could have been black. No, that's weird. Is there an open line? Brush. I can't imagine that sweet through there. That's weird. Huh. I would have thought the paint bucket would have filled that in, but if that was black, it would push everything forward. Man, that's nice too. Really, really good upshot. Oop. Oh, my computer is like... Now you're going to tell me you can't rotate a page? You rotated one earlier. What's up with that? What's up with that? That's really cool. All right. How many more do we have? Let's see. Oh, God. Okay, we can't do that many more. Here, we'll look at a couple more. This is a really nice layout. Man, it's great. I don't even remember this page, to be 100% honest. This is really cool. And the colors are kind of fun. Wow. Oh, man, this is so good. Jeez Louise. Man, that is great. I can't believe... I swear. So this series is much, much longer. This book is totally worth it. Oh, my God. Talk about bang for your buck. I swear I didn't even open half of the art. Not even close. I probably did close to a third. Okay, we'll do 2 more, and then I should get going. But hopefully everyone has a nice Sunday. And, man, that was really fun. I felt like I really got a lot out of that video. Man, Barry Windsor Smith is a badass. Yeah, that was really, really cool. He's such a stud. Super happy that he got his Monsters book out. I'm happy to see that he seems happy in his life, and he's, you know, does like some short interviews and stuff like that. I mean, he's getting out there a little bit more. He can be pretty reclusive, so it's nice to see him. You know, you hate to have someone as great as Barry Windsor Smith just kind of vanish and not, you know, be around. It's kind of a bummer because he's, you know, of the studio guys. It was really sad too, because when I was listening to those interviews, we'll look at a couple more. When I was listening to those interviews, it was Bernie Wrightson, and he was talking about Jeffrey Catherine Jones. So they both have passed away, Bernie and Jeffrey Catherine Jones. He was talking about Richard Corbin. Richard Corbin's gone. It's like, you know, we're losing a lot of the famous guys. Frazetta obviously passed away. He's a little older than those guys, but you know, you really have to cherish that Barry Windsor Smith is still with us, and Michael Kaluta is still with us, and, you know, I mean, none of us are going to last forever, unfortunately, but, yeah, so, okay, I'm going to go. You guys have a great Sunday. Definitely pick this up, and, yeah, follow me on Instagram and start checking out my art if you haven't. And honestly, like, I don't plug it that much, and that's why I think a lot of people that maybe don't know that I draw don't know. But everyone that goes over is always like, damn, dude, I love your YouTube channel, but holy shit, I had no idea that you could draw like this. So, you know, it's that's a big compliment to me, and that's something that I really do appreciate. So, all right, you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you later. And this week, my plan is to have Eric Canetti on for a live thing, and we're going to talk comics and crowdfunding and all that stuff. So, yeah, stay tuned. I'll talk to you later. Bye.